Oh, hey, look at that. Now that's interesting. And blue takes a lot of the flyover turf, or gold takes a lot of the flyover turf as expected, but we have Nebraska. Can you explain to our viewers what's going on there? Because that is not common.
Yeah, so for those of you who are not familiar, there are two states that split their electoral votes, or can split their electoral votes, Nebraska and Maine. If depending on how the voting is broken apart across the state. So in Nebraska, they do it by congressional district. So in Nebraska, it looks like they have one vote for gold, and the rest went for blue.
Interesting. And then, of course, Colorado is blue, which makes sense. Idaho. But then you get interesting aspects to that. Anyway, well, we'll keep tracking the results as they come in, of course. Working their way along nicely. But what else do we have?
So now we would like to ask Hallie Scansey to come to the front.
Yeah.
All right, where is she?
There she is. Give a warm welcome to Hallie.
Much appreciated.
All right, so for those of you who don't know her, this is Hallie Scansey. She is the National Security Advisor to the President of the United States, and we would like to ask you a few questions about what happened over the course of last week. Take it away.
Sure. Now, obviously, there has been quite a bit of drama above us, and I know the Senate has passed the Emergency Appropriations Act, and I know that there was, I believe, a rescue mission of some kind, or was it more than one? I admit I didn't keep track of all the details. I had too many things going on. What exactly happened? Yeah, let's start with Monday. Like, this week has been rather busy for you. What's been going on?
It has been. Monday, we received word that there was some trouble aboard the International Space Station. As all of you know, I'm sure, Sunday evening late, we had a historic launch with the Dragon spacecraft made by SpaceX that they've been sending up to the International Space Station before, but this was the first time they sent people on board. And it's actually the first time ever that a commercial company has sent human beings into space. So it was public, everyone was covered, it was a big deal. They said that they were going to replace the crew, resupply, stuff that they've been doing for a while, but normally we go up with the Russians, and this time we had the capability to send our own people up. As most of you know, it didn't go as planned, and as it turns out, someone on the crew had been working in collaboration with some Chechen terrorists to help them get aboard and then take over the International Space Station.
Now, just for the few of the audience that may have not managed to get through their 6th grade geography course, Chechen is not the same as Czechoslovakia or the Czech Republic, correct?
No.
What's Chechen?
Chechens are residents of the Chechen, or of the state of Chechnya, or the Chechenian. I'm trying to remember the next.
Chechnya Republic.
Yeah, that's what they call themselves.
It's the Republic of Chechnya. Okay.
But that's not an independent state.
No, it is not. It is a part of the Federation. It is part of the Russian Federation. So they have their own government, but they are subservient to Russia, and their head of the Chechen Republic was put in place by Russia. So they do serve.
Now, they're historically at odds with Russia.
Yes, the Chechen and Russian conflict has been going on for centuries. There have been multiple wars. They've been in a state of conflict for quite a while. And Chechnya is only just recently starting to come out of that chaos, starting to become more stable.
I'm sure this won't help.
No, this definitely won't.
So what happened? Continue, sorry. It was a side note.
We're still trying to figure out details. We'll know a lot more once we actually get up there and talk to our astronauts on board. What we know is that there were 2 stowaways on board, and that a crew member of the SpaceX crew assisted them, and then essentially made a statement saying that the reason for the hijacking was to make reparations for the treatment of the Chechen people by Russia and for the international community's apathy towards it.
And what did the Foreign Relations Committee do in regards to this crisis?
The Foreign Relations Committee was acting as a kind of liaison to the executive branch. As you know, the president and his executive team were the ones making the final decisions, working with their intelligence organizations, working with Russia even to figure out what to do. But they wanted Congress to be involved, so they went to the Foreign Relations Committee and gave them relevant information, asked them for recommendations towards their course of action, and even consulted them in deciding whether or not we would go up with the Russians, as was proposed by Russia, or whether or not we wanted to try and send our own crew up to rescue the space station.
So what did we do?
We launched a space shuttle this morning. We collaborated with SpaceX. They were the only ones who had a launch vehicle that they could ready in enough time. We did launch after the Russians, so the Russians sent a crew up earlier this morning. We launched at about 10:15, and as of now, both shuttles are en route to the space station. Russia will probably get there first, but we've been in communication with them to make sure we can work as cordially as possible and make sure all of our people get home.
I see. Wow. Well, our thoughts and prayers to the people on board, both on the station and the people heading up to intervene. Any further questions? Alrighty. Well, then, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate you coming by. What do we have left?
We have some more election results, and then we're going to call the Speaker of the House back.
Oh, very good. Excellent. The Speaker and the President. All right. So what do we know? There we go. Okay, very good. Coming in.
So the Rocky Mountain states are all in, and they are split.
They are, quite.
We have New Mexico and Utah voting together. That's pretty unusual.
Yeah, it is. Although Washington and Oregon together makes a ton of sense. Agreeing with Montana is a different matter entirely. Or let alone Georgia. So 253 to 194. If Gold's going to have a shot at this, they have to take California.
That is the case. Let's go ahead and welcome back to the stage the Gold and Blue Party hacks and hear what they have to say now that we have a little more information. Please give them a warm welcome.
Welcome back, gentlemen. It's good to see you again. So, we have a slightly clearer picture of this evening. It's rather colorful up there. Kind of looks like a Christmas ornament, but what's going to happen in California?
This election is clearly not over.
No, this election is clearly not over, and this election has been defying everything. I mean, all of your conventional wisdom as far as how states are going to vote, it's just they don't follow them at all. So the thought that California is going to go gold simply because Texas went blue, although that's generally true, they don't generally vote together. Who knows tonight? Because Washington and Oregon voted the same way as Wyoming and Montana. Georgia. This is defying all wisdom, all conventional wisdom, and I think it's just showing you how close it is, but also just how hard both parties worked on this election. I don't know last time I've seen both parties just putting themselves. Everyone got into it so much this year, and it's showing with the election results.
Mr. Speaker, what do you think this election is really going to come down to?
Honestly, to be entirely honest, I would love to see a county breakdown, because if this is a mess, I would love to see how big of a mess the county breakdown is. So when all this is said and done, that's what I'm going to look at, because I'm curious to see why this is defying all odds and everything. Honestly, like I said, and I did kind of joke about it before, but really, our ground team has been very good. They've done a great job walking those long distances, talking to people for an extended period of time, making those personal connections. California's hard, especially with this new cycle. It's hard to actually resonate with a lot of the residents of California and get them on our side. So I know Blue Party probably experienced the same thing the Gold Party did. Really, there's no telling. I can't say one way or another, but
we are getting some more results. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so Alaska and Hawaii have now come in.
So what's that number? 260 to 194. All right. That's going to make California utterly central for gold.
just glad we didn't have to wait on Alaska and Hawaii. We really always have to.
The fact that they agreed is weird. Okay.
Wait, I think we're getting another state. Another state's coming in.
Oh!
California goes gold.
California is 49. And the magic number, gentlemen, is what? 270.
270 to win. That's what we're waiting for. All right, so we need to hear from Florida.
Who's ready for a lawsuit?
This has happened before. For those of you who don't remember, could you explain a little bit about the election in 2000?
Yes. That was the first election that I was really paying very close attention to. And that election went on. Networks certified all projected that one candidate was going to win, and then they pulled that back and said someone else was winning, and then pulled that back and said the original candidate won. Kind of went back and forth. They had recount after recount to where lawsuits went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And I think George W. Bush was finally certified as the winner. Is it late December? I think it was like a week before the Electoral College was supposed to vote that they finally knew who won. But it was like a month and a half after the election day before we finally knew who won that election.
Which, of course, brings a very important question. Are either of the candidates related to the governor of Florida?
I don't think so.
Okay, good. That created all sorts of interesting stories in the press last time.
I sat with them at lunch one time.
The governor of Florida? Oh, okay. I've sat with the governor of Florida, so it's whatever. Do you have it? We have final results? I can hear the tension. Oh!